invite Dr. Zanetor Agyeman-Rawlings to deliver her speech.
Your Excellency, former President John Dramani Mahama, National Chairman, Chairman of Osuampofo, General Secretary, the only mosquito in our net, our Vice Chairpersons, Comrade Sherry Aite and Chairman Ato, our senior comrades and cadres, distinguished guests on the dais, Nime, Name, Niwolome, members of the NDC, the youth groups, invited ladies and gentlemen, and our friends from the media. It is indeed a privilege for me to stand here on the 40th anniversary of the 31st December Revolution. A revolution, by definition, refers to a distant movement over time, but in a circular fashion. So, in terms of our planet, it takes 365 days for the Earth to do one revolution around the sun. Every day, every month, and every year is different. And it's the same with our human existence. Our history, the entire human history, is also a revolution. Because we go through the various phases and we find ourselves coming back to the same point. And whether or not things have changed depends on us, depends on you, and it depends on me. The commemoration of the 40th anniversary of the 31st December Revolution is not so much about that single day as it is about the journey from then till now. It is about what we are doing now as a republic. If today, at every opportunity that we have, we are sounding warnings to the government in power, it is because we have seen these signs before, and we recognize the danger on the horizon, and we wish to avoid going down the same path that we have seen this country go down before. There is poverty amidst plenty. It's almost as if there are two different worlds in Ghana, where some people don't even know the level of suffering that is going on, and they cannot relate to it. And when they speak as though all is well. And then there's the rest of us who understand that things are not going as they should in this country. And that after 40 years of a foundation being laid, for us to be at this point is a frightening prospect. Especially when we recognize the fact that on our borders, we have so much going on with violent extremists taking over various nation states. And the underlying cause in most cases is a weakness in governance. When corruption is reaching levels as high as we are seeing here, and we are seeing a breakdown in the structures that keep our democracy alive. For those who know what it took to get to this point, not only is it scary, but it is annoying. Because people lost their lives. They were victims of this revolution in the process of getting to this point. And no life was considered useless in getting to this point. There are children who grew up without their families on both sides of the fight. And so if we're here today, because people have inherited a foundation that was laid and they are playing around with the peace and the stability that we have in this country, we must wake up and we must let them know that we will not allow them to destabilize this hard-won consolidation of our democracy. If today we are commemorating 40 years since the 31st December Revolution, we must also talk about the things that were done, the tangible things that were done. Because principles are abstract and values are abstract, unless we can translate them into meaningful things. If today UDS exists because we have electricity going all the way up to our upper regions, if today we have specialists in our various hospitals, some of whom, but for the opportunities under the PNDC, and having the chance to go to Cuba to have their training, would not be where they are today. Some of whom are actually members of this government. If today we have made so many gains as a nation, that is part of the legacy of the 40 years. What does it mean to uphold the principles of the revolution? It's very simple. What's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. We don't need to sugarcoat it, and we don't need to pretend. The people of Ghana know what's true. And we don't need to lie to get your votes. You know what is true. And I do not believe that the people of Ghana, having experienced what we are going through, will make the mistake of submission again. The Constitution of Ghana, the 1992 Constitution, which has been an inspiration for a lot of countries across this continent, in itself is a testament to the fact that the late Flight Lieutenant Agyeman-Rawlings was indeed a Democrat at heart. The majority of persons who became appointees and members of parliament when the NDC first took the reins of power in 1993 were cadres, were people who served under the PNDC. And so if today people are saying that the PNDC was a military dictatorship, they should look in the mirror. Because the majority of people who carried the PNDC into constitutional rule by the 1992 Constitution were civilians, were cadres, were ordinary Ghanaians like you and like me. Participatory democracy is not an abstract concept. If we look at our local governance system, our assembly members, our unit committee members, all of them, that is part of the legacy of the 40 years of the PNDC. And none of that was by chance. All of that was done with a vision of making this country a better nation, a more prosperous nation, a just nation, and one with equal opportunities for all Ghanaians, not just some. And to make sure that the foundations laid preserved our resources for future generations, not to be squandered away by some who consider themselves the rightful owners and leaders of this country. This country does not belong to a few people. It is for all of us, all 30+ million of us. If today people are standing on the foundations built to go and make speeches on international platforms about how well Ghana is doing, they should thank those who came before them. Our history was turbulent. But if we look at where we are today, we have to be able to understand that in spite of the difficulties we faced, we are here because there was a vision to make this country better. Now it is our turn. What are we doing to make Ghana better? Are we going to sit down and say that because this is constitutional rule, anything goes? We must understand our rights and responsibilities as Ghanaians. And we must let those who think that they know the book understand that we understand the practicalities of democracy and how it is practiced. Those who refuse to participate in the drafting of our constitution, who today feel that they are the experts on constitutional rule, should come back and ask us how it's done, because clearly they don't understand. Fellow comrades, the frustration and the anger and the sadness that we feel as a youthful population in this country, watching those who are older than us, who have had so many opportunities, squander away the wealth of this nation that we should inherit and build upon, is heartbreaking. We must not sit down and allow people to bamboozle us by reading parts of the Constitution out of context because they feel that is how they will get what they want. Let us educate ourselves on the basics of what this is about. What is the essence of democracy except to ensure that there is justice, that there's fairness, that there's equity for all? Anybody who uses our constitution to undermine this does not deserve to rule this nation. Let us guide ourselves. Winning an election in 2024 is not about waiting till the last minute. It starts today. Let us mobilize, let us create awareness, and let us remember, it is only by showing courage in the times of adversity that we shall overcome. So if we stand here and we sing about how the revolution has come to stay, we must show that we have courage in our hearts to stand up, because when you stand up for what is right, those who are in the wrong cannot overcome you. So we must show courage. We must show bravery. We must also honor those who have done some for us. To not do our part is to betray the sacrifices of all those who came before us. And so today, I urge all of us to renew that flame in our hearts, that patriotism that makes us want to create something better for this country. That is not about only ourselves, but about future generations, knowing that we are planting a seed that will grow into a tree whose shade we may not necessarily be resting under, but knowing that we are doing something for the future generations. I thank you very much, and God bless you all.